Welcome to Write Your Narrative, your weekly go-to street art podcast.
There's just so much culture and life in South Florida.
Art helped me find myself.
I can sit here and complain that Miami doesn't have any of these things, or I can find a way to do it.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
We have changed the conversation.
You're in the right place.
So, hi everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Today we are recording from Win317 studio, and my guest is Ryan the Wheelbarrow. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm loving the air conditioning up here in this studio, Art B&B.
Well, we gotta love the girls. We just recorded earlier the podcast with them, and we had a great conversation. I mean, as you know, they've been in the art scene for 11 years now.
Yeah.
And they're doing great work.
They have the hardest job, selling the art. The artist got the easy job.
It is. Selling the art is the hard part. Correct, yes. And you know all about that because you're an artist yourself, but then you do wear multiple hats. Yeah. You are a tour guide in Wynwood. You give tour to all these tourists, all these people who come to our town to...
Locals, yours and local. You know, sometimes it's a group of civilians that have no idea what they're signing up for. And they show up to Wynwood and they're completely floored. And my job is just to answer all their questions before they get a chance to ask them. And so as you take them through this story, telling some experiences, oh man, they walk out with a whole new mindset.
I'm sure.
The respect for the art form is growing exponentially. You know, Wynwood is a catalyst, an eye-opener, case study.
It is.
I mean, fair to say, almost a business model if you're a hustler. Working independently for the last decade.
The last decade, yes.
Yeah, man, as long as I've been making maps and telling the story of...
Oh, these famous little maps, these famous little Wynwood maps.
Yeah, keeping the story going. You got to, you know, and the story's always changing. You know, that's kind of the beauty of getting out there and talking to strangers about this urban art renaissance is that by living it and breathing it and watching the changes and adapting with those changes, it's inevitable change.
It is.
That's the only constant. But you got to ride that wave, man. And it's still picking up, I think.
Yeah, so you're riding that wave and then you're walking that fine line, being an artist, talking about art.
And I'm on all crews, you know, working with the indoor, the outdoor museums, you know, cruising on the golf carts, bicycles.
Yes.
I mean, if it's raining, let's just cruise around in your Sprinter. No worries.
All right. No, but this is absolutely incredible how you make that art that's on the wall, introducing it to the people, making it so alive. So you know pretty much every corner of Wynwood, every artist who painted in Wynwood.
I've seen all the corners change, no doubt.
Yes, we have.
But you know, I kind of only speak from that one firsthand experience, you know?
Yeah.
It changes, the neighborhood changes differently for everyone, I think. And because, you know, we're in the West. This is the US of A. I mean, it is literally the Wild West of urban art. You know, it's like...
I can see that.
And this is the beauty is that some of the best have been here and they're literally knocking holes in the middle of their murals.
They are.
And that's what they signed up for, I guess. I mean, it hurts, no doubt, but you know, it's inevitable. But now to see that fresh wall come out and the new exploration of younger, more energetic, you know, open-minded, I mean, we're in Miami. Like, it's this perfect storm. It's this capital of the Americas, and they don't look at it the same way that they do here. I mean, I happen to choose a path in the tourism industry as a way to keep my lights on.
Correct.
And so that's never really going out of style.
No, I mean, not being in Miami, no. I mean,
it gives me a lot of time, you know, personally to explore my techniques of art and the various styles that I've been trying to work with over the last 20 years. And I'm going to push it to the next degree this Basel, I think. I'm trying to do something a little unexpected. But if you know, you know.
Oh, okay. Maybe you want to give us a scoop. Yes. So we're always talking in a podcast about Art Basel, which is at the end of the year for the people who are not familiar with Art Basel. This is the first week of December when all the big art fair come into town, and Art Basel being the major one. Then we have all these satellite fairs. coming around, and Wynwood comes to life every year for at least 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because usually people start painting the 2 weeks before Art Basel.
Yeah, the locals come
What
in
we
the
call Art
corners
Basel,
and the
which
good
is-
spot, right around, and everyone's got the day off on Thanksgiving. So
Oh yes,
kind of this.
yeah, no,
that's the kickoff.
oh yeah, that's the kickoff, and the neighborhood comes so alive. All these pop-up shows popping up everywhere, in every corner, every empty building.
It's like Art Basel. I hate to love it, but I love to hate it. And that's what brought me out here. I'm a transplant originally from Arizona,
Okay, all
but
right.
Wynwood's been my office for the last 22 years, and
22 years now in Miami.
it's been that long. My first show was early days of Object Art Space.
Object art space.
One of the first graffiti galleries in the neighborhood, but I participated in a show they were doing back then called Roving Fridays. It was kind of precursor to the Art Walk,
Okay,
because we
all
had
right.
these huge pop-ups all throughout the neighborhood working with Lombardi. They
Yes.
would revitalize, quote unquote, a building, give it some lights, give it some new pipes. Next thing you know, we brought the party, the sponsors, the alcohol, and that's when I started performing and painting live and just throwing my heart into that neighborhood. And I do a lot different work now than I did then. And it's just amazing to see how I've adapted over the ages and seeing the neighborhood adapt at the same time. And to see friends and colleagues and other local artists and how their careers have catapulted in various different degrees.
Yes.
All of this I don't take for granted. And so since I started touring, these maps, which we alluded to earlier, are these tangible time capsules during that week of Basel. When all these international greats are beautifying our backyard, I'm cataloging the corners and marking off the countries and mapping it out in a way that you can explore and discover these treasures. And the treasure is the artist. Watching them.
It really is. It
place.
really is.
That's that little glimpse in art history that only Martha Cooper and Henry Chalfant captured back in subway art days.
They did.
And to witness the new evolution, to see the Museum of Graffiti explode, seeing the Wynwood walls just, really kind of cement the status of the neighborhood, the same way Goldman cemented that status in South Beach. Now, I've done tours in other cities, but man, Wynwood, there's nothing like it, man.
Yeah, that's what we say. Well, Wynwood is rewriting his own narrative every day.
Sure.
I mean, there's just something happening every day, pretty much. So, of course, Basel is the main time, the main focus. And I love to say that for us living here, this is like a big family reunion. When we see all these people coming into town,
Definitely.
that we know that we see each other. They're traveling to Miami. They're going to spend a week or two with us. And then they eventually leave.
Well, that's the life of being a professional adventure painter.
Yes.
This is how Lister described it. But it's so dope. You end up out in Denver and you're like, yo, you're riding bikes around this neighborhood, making maps. What are you doing over here? I just saw you out there in Montreal. And,
Correct,
like,
yes.
that's the beauty, is like talking to strangers and civilians and how they open up, how they see this style of urban art. They start to see it happening in their neighborhoods as well.
I'm sure.
So it's like, the reach of this one particular bubble in Miami, which is a whole nother animal in itself, depending on the neighborhood you're in.
Yeah.
It's like, it's become very powerful. I dread the day that it becomes a verb. Like Basil.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you Basil?
You're basiling.
I remember when it became a verb and you're just like, what?
So, well, because it's a big celebration.
Well, we
It
look
is
forward
just
to
a
it
big
every year.
celebration. So
When it starts, we just kind of wish it would be over. And then it's like, we can't wait to do something next year.
Yes, we can't wait. But this is just around the corner. So we were talking about these maps, and those are the things that you have that have been involving. You're printing on different support, and then you have that little zine that you want to put up now. This is your new...
So as these maps have transformed and evolved with brands and identities, I've now kind of summed it up into a zine. Mural zine, if you will.
A mural
That's
zine.
that's the .com. But it's this kind of cataloging of concepts. Myself is the first one, because I got to let you know where I'm coming from.
All right.
And so I'm going to start to focus on certain specific artists and curators and projects and concepts. Because wouldn't it be great to know where all the cat and dog murals are in the neighborhood?
Oh, yes. We need to know that. We need to know.
That might come after the calligraffiti one, who I'm a big fan of hands.
Oh, okay.
My handwriting's terrible. But, it keeps me passionate. I've been doing this for so long, telling the same story. To maintain that passion, you got to be obsessed. And
you are passionate, definitely, in a conversation, the way you show the neighborhood, you present the neighborhood, you offer the neighborhood. And this is a way for the people who are visiting Wynwood to leave us with something, a little something tangible, something that they can take home, like a little souvenir.
Absolutely. I mean, in the day and age of everything glowing and rectangular, this one doesn't need Wi-Fi or electricity. And some of them are extra special and they're waterproof.
Oh, so you made those waterproof.
Yeah, the one I'll produce for Art Basel this year, once I catalog at least, 20 locations, at least a dozen, let's say. Last year I got 23, I believe. But we'll see. Nonetheless, it enables me to control every aspect of it. Correct. Being able to print them in small batches, and they're all numbered, dated, and embossed. So they're super official.
They are.
And they got the official map, but these ones are super official. But that's what kind of makes it, you see that extra love. And as a graphic designer and a typographer enthusiast, the details are in there. You can see the same passion. And honestly, it's kind of been the climax of my graphic design career. And I do it all for myself.
All right.
I got, the only one making revisions is me.
Well, you make it for the love of art, for sure.
Yeah.
One thing for sure, for the passion you have. And you're such a giving spirit.
Well, in order to get stuff, you got to give a little.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's just the laws of nature. So I appreciate that because I hope it gets contagious. When I started doing my free bike tours, that was the intent. Educate everyone else telling the same story. I was more concerned with other tour guides making up things rather than, knowing what we're surrounded by. Because once you realize just who these artists are, how long they've been doing it, how far their influence reaches, you start to realize that, this is something special and a little different in that timeline of art history.
Yeah.
I mean, you may get snubbed down still by the Whitney because it's not a real museum or, but that's
it's an urban.
But that's the beauty of where we're at is it's a time and now. And so it's evolving too, because then it starts to overlap. That's when I enjoy that kind of overlap of vandal and professional.
Yes.
So like some of the most successful professional urban masters all struggled and got in a lot of trouble before.
We know we've heard these stories. We've seen them on the news sometimes. And yes, on TV. Well, some people have quite of a history. But this is part of the street art scene.
Yeah. No, and that's what adds to the conversation. I mean, walking around the same block, telling the same story, conversation's still forever changing because next time I look at my mural, boom, bombed again.
God,
all right, well, that one kind of hurts my feelings. This one, not so much. I expected that. It's like, it's still a waste of paint. But it alludes to this further conversation of that coexistence of the vandal and that professional and at the end of the day, all of it, putting any of your work outdoors, it's just all about respect and style. Those are the two main ingredients. Persistence.
Yeah, well, that makes a pretty good sauce for Wynwood.
The persistence is also a key because you have to keep pushing it. I almost gave up on the maps after COVID, to be honest. I was burnt.
Yeah.
And I was trying to reinvent.
Well, COVID was a rough time for me.
And it was a blessing in disguise because it kind of put my art in perspective more. And that's when I reinvented it to kind of start adding this dialogue. And rather than just a treasure map of X's and plots on a grid, I wanted to have photos. I wanted you to see the conversation in real life, because to tell someone what used to be is the most unengaging aspect. And sometimes my maps get so complex that
They do.
even the even the trained eye can still have that, challenge of decrypting it. And that's kind of the fun part too, is I hope it takes a while, and still it's not as detailed and complex as I wish it could be, because I can only spend so many hours of it on a day. But this new one, it's almost in a sense of taking yourself on a tour of the neighborhood, taking this motive topic of conversation and, having it guide you to explore. I mean, that's the beauty. It's like, it's not about looking at your cell phone. It's not about reading it on the internet. It's about being present.
Yes.
To be present during that time is priceless and magical.
It is.
And that's what kept my passion going to do a new edition of this treasure map, because if I don't do it, no one is.
And it's something I bring up quite often in the podcast. It's a different way of documenting what's going on around us. It is very, very crucial to do this. You mentioned Aaron Chalfant and Martha Cooper, of course. They started back in the early 80s. So, and we have to do something here in Miami.
Well, and it's vital for the history of it. And to know that where this apartment was, actually, there was a buff monster. And a London police, and almost every one of the artists at the walls are right here. And now it's a field, and boom, now you're paying $2,500 for that little box with a window. And that's the nature of the beast.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm always trying to be an optimist.
Of course.
But you got to roll with the punches, though, too. Choose your battles.
You got to choose your battles. And during that time of the year, that can be pretty... I mean, we have, fortunately, less and less wall space.
Yeah, definitely.
So the prices are getting higher and higher. Your name needs to be bigger and bigger in order to get the wall. But that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Anyway, every artist has to grow. They have to challenge themselves to become someone famous or not so famous, but they do have to work and produce some new things and evolve.
Absolutely. As long as we're out there keeping it moving, love it, hate it, I do both. You got to keep producing it. And that's the thing. Yes. Like, as long as you're keeping it moving, positive, negative, up and down, but it's that persistence is what makes people either love you or hate you.
That's why one hates you.
Well, not in particular me.
Not particularly, yes.
But the persistence of said artist.
Yes.
There's some artists in the neighborhood that are incredibly prolific, and you either love them or you hate them. I don't know. It's fascinating to that fine line of value and overexposure, which turns into selling out. That's the new keeping it real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all in your age and your perspective, because you don't look at it in the same light when you're a teenager,
Oh, absolutely.
And now when you're able to see the whole perspective of it, then you can kind of take advantage of all aspects of the movement. Now I'm painting my murals, putting them on my map, showing them on my tour and pushing it to the fullest extent, where everyone on my tour walks away with one of these maps.
That is awesome.
And the next one is going to be my best one.
It's going to be your best one.
No, it's taken me too long, because it's taken me far back, just through my whole influence of this art and culture and why I do what I do, because I dwell on that and think, what's the point?
Yeah.
Are the maps for me to just fact check myself when I start rambling on about names and numbers? And absolutely, I see it written down. It's a lot easier to remember.
It is.
But it also, too, it's that kind of recognition of like, I was there and that guy was there and he was there and we were all there. I remember. But things don't last forever. So it's that persistence of it is the only thing that's going to matter in the future. I always hear about how some people have done it first, and
yeah, well, who was first?
And even
the chicken
better. Are you still doing it?
That's what it is. Persistence. Yes.
You know, love it, hate it. There's no shortage of talent, but there's no substitute for that hard work.
No, there's no.
And to see youngsters come up and fly by older cats that have been, trying to make something stick, kind of fascinates me.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the artwork,
So you're turning that little map project into a little zine, something that used to be underground, kind of a little, Talking of the Wall was somehow a magazine, zine.
Sure.
Yes, that's what this was. And for 2 years, I had so much fun running with it. So much fun.
And you put in that work, you reap the rewards, and things live and things die. Certain things can be considered a success and stay like that forever and never do it again. I didn't really want that with the map. No, because I knew it was going to live on for the 6 years, I think, that I had already done pre-COVID. But over the last 4 years to continue it, it's like, now I have to.
Now it's like, I have to. You're on a mission. You're the man on a mission.
It's almost like it's a duty for art history purposes. Because that, at the end of the day, is what is the most valuable part of just a laundry list of guys. And sometimes there's a typo.
Well,
that's part of my signature.
True, yes. Well, being a typo can be a quite famous name in Wynwood Tour.
No doubt. Typos on the map, no doubt.
Since we have an artist in Miami named Typo for the people.
He's definitely got a plot on my next zine, to be honest.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, he's in there.
Also, it's going to be a major typo. So, those little zine, yes. So, your next adventure throughout Wynwood. Is that something that you're pushing online too, or you just print?
It's one of those things that I get to the product and then it just lives there. The marketing, the sales, the getting it in other people's hands. And maybe I'm just selfish because at the end of the day, as long as I have one for me, it's a success.
Success. Big
No, but I can see it just producing more, and eventually I'll bring more people into the fold, because if I start adding writing, I can't write everything. I'm not the best writer, and it takes me quite a while. However, there's brilliant writers, there's brilliant photographers, and that's one of the key components that I feel will aid and embed in these curated navigational devices.
Oh, navigation devices.
Yeah.
All right. So for the people if you don't want to lose yourself in Wynwood, it's not that big. We don't have a neighborhood that huge.
No.
It's just like, 9 blocks south from the south and north, and really not that big.
And it's one of the most common questions out of any gift shop in the neighborhood. Where do we go now?
Where do we go now? Yes.
At one point, I probably had 10 different vendors, from the PAM to the walls and everywhere in between. ICA. And I focused on it a bit more, but I'm trying to bring that back, trying to reinvent, trying to do it smarter rather than doing it harder. And I want to maximize it in a way that is just more conducive for the consumer, because I want them to really understand what's going on. So if you can, hear my words through print and then follow my route through a graphic, that's fantastic. Because then I can go out of town and go paint some murals in another city, or who knows?
So talking about painting murals, because you actually do also murals too.
Yeah, I've been working with the Wynwood Mural Festival. Yeah. Last year was fantastic. Sometimes I paint multiple walls during the year. Sometimes they last, sometimes they don't.
Like every wall we have, yes.
It's this battle for locals, to fight for that visual space. And, I don't care what the budget is, count me in.
That's it, count me in.
You get me a crane and some spray, I'll cover it from corner to corner.
Yeah, even a bucket of paint. And
then it'll probably get vandalized right after that. And that's all right, because I'll come back. Good thing I live here.
Or we get people like last year, I saw that girl, I took a video of that girl doing some kind of dance in front of the wall that I sent it to you. Yes. I was on the other side of the street, and I saw that girl. Right. She put her little camera.
Influencers in the wild.
And she was doing her stuff right in front of your wall. And she seems to be so serious about it. I thought, I thought it was really, really something.
Yeah,
fun.
those videos make my day. Send me more of those.
Oh yeah. We have all kinds of people coming to Wynwood, taking pictures in front of the wall, putting their feet on the wall to take pictures. It's incredible. People seems to have to be glued to the wall, and then tell their friends, back up. But no, they should be give a little space to the wall, see the whole wall. But yeah, well, Wynwood is a major attraction.
They get contagious and they're magnetic. You can almost tell how cool your mural is by how many influencers pull over and
Yes, definitely.
Not too many with mine. It's usually some weird yoga poses or some improvisational dancers. But yeah, I love seeing those.
Well, this is the appeal they have. Every wall has a different appeal. We can throw some nails, and everybody
will get involved with a project this year. We'll see where my spray cans land. If I don't, hopefully I exhibit some canvases. I just I go into Basel every year with blue skies.
Blue skies.
I almost treat it like a vacation where it's like no plan is the best plan. Everything pops up, everyone shows up, and before you know it, everything fits together, and you're living the dream.
Well, we need a little Ryan in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
You are definitely part of the neighborhood. You are one of the character,
the usual suspects.
The usual suspect. Yes. So, well, either that you're on your bike with the grandpa, your dog, or not, and then you take the dog with you on these art shows.
Oh, he's an art show pup. He's a little basket buddy. I'll take him on my bike and we'll cruise around the whole neighborhood. So.
Cruise around the neighborhood. We'll be
doing some puppy recon during Art Basel this year, no doubt.
All right.
It's like an annual tradition to kind of take him around the neighborhood and find all the dog murals. That's what I did last year.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's such a good boy. He sits right in front, and yeah.
So yes, it's something also that Mark Diamond has been doing for quite some times with his two dogs. And he's been taking pictures from the car and with the dogs in front of the...
I love that book.
Oh, no, that's something. He's also another Miami legend.
Have you had him on the podcast?
No, not yet. Not yet. I know he can tell me stories. He can tell our listeners stories because he knows about Wynwood Tour. So no, on the podcast, we're trying to talk to... art curators, like we did with the Win 317 galleries, with artists, with photographers, all those different aspects of the art scene that we're doing, not just here in Wynwood, but in South Florida, because there's a lot of things happening in Broward County too, in Fort Lauderdale, on the west coast of Florida next month. I mean, we are almost in October. We're going to have the Shine Festival over there. So
beautiful.
10 years. They've been doing it. So there's a lot of happening in the scene. Of course, Wynwood, it's its own little thing.
Yeah, no, but what's happening here? It's happening everywhere.
I'm sure.
That reinvention of the public space, and it catapults everyone's business. It provides a sustainable living for a lot of local artists because, there's a power to that public art.
There is.
It really is. And it's almost scientific what colors can do for a community because people gravitate to it.
Well, that's why they now call it public art. It used to be street art, but now they like to call it a little more proper way.
It's all semantics. Whether you call it art, vandalism, urban interventionism, advertisements. I mean, they all coexist. And some
advertisements.
Yeah, I saw one of those being created today.
All right.
Yeah.
Arts. How'd you say that?
Oh, the artvertisements, which was a nice little term that I coined on my tours because that's kind of almost where Wynwood is. It's at this pinnacle of art and commerce, and you see a legendary local artist. Like just today, I saw Dism painting another beautiful portrait. And he's old school. He's a real writer. The guy has can control, and it's like he's out there sweating it out, mind you, but he's doing his art, and it's an advertisement for whatever brand is paying him. That mural with invisibility of the walls, that's a lot of visibility. And the thing is like you would have no idea that it's sponsored, but that's because there's a rule. I mean, there's some where they do put the sponsor and they might get a code violation. that law still even exists. I kind of feel like they threw that out the window. But, you grease the wheels, I'm sure you can get away with it. Most big companies will just put it in the budget. However, to see that art and advertisement blended in a way where you can't tell the difference, and you don't really have to in a place like Wynwood, because you can accept both of them.
Can say that. Yes, that's true.
True. I accept both of them as a vital portion of it, because if you take all that illegal vandalism, you take the grit away from all that beauty, you're going to lose a lot of that contrast.
Well, in Wynwood, it's almost a free for all anyway. So there's not much vandalism anymore.
They need to legalize the sidewalks. Let us paint the sidewalks. Let's just go to town, every sidewalk. If there's one thing that we can please make iconic about this little walking neighborhood, it's just let us paint the sidewalks.
Well, there's a lot of things on the sidewalk.
Not that you can stop them, but it is illegal. And I'm just why can't they just legalize it?
Yeah.
But anyways, that's my wish.
Yeah. Well, I've been taking pictures.
It's already coming true.
Years of the sidewalk. Yes.
But where have you been and seen that much spray paint all over the sidewalks, every corner you turn?
Yes.
I've only been to Wynwood and seen it like that.
I don't think it's something.
I mean, go walk around the Rhino District, you'll see a ton of slaps. But it's not like everyone spilled paint and had their kids go to town. And then there's one spot where it's nothing but stickers on the sidewalk. And you're that's fascinating.
It is. Stickers is also a big community. It's a big thing, part of the
those are my
street art world. I mean, really.
The stickers, that's my language. Slaps. Oh, I had a slap shirt. That was a skate magazine back in the 90s. And I had a shirt that said slap. I hated it. I wish I still had it. But every time I'd wear it, my friend would just slap me in the face. But those slaps are vital. I mean, for me, it's been my lifeblood in art and expression and putting my work in public since I was 12. And my next zine, maybe I'll do a little plug of a little foreshadowing of the next zine. The next zine is going to be my favorite because it's all about these stickers, so to speak. I mean, we cross all mediums and methods. However, it's all about logo bombing.
Logo bombing?
Logo bombing.
What are we talking about now?
Well, that term, it alludes to something fascinating. You think of a logo, you're thinking of Nike, a swoosh, your favorite brand. That's how you recognize stuff.
Absolutely, yes.
Humans have been doing it since they were cavemen, carving them into pyramids. We're unique like that. But I find fascinating this illegal application of these iconic symbols, and how whether you're a street artist, a graffiti writer, an urban interventionist, a satirist. I mean, there's some guys out there just sticking stickers of their face on stuff. I love that. Yeah. So I started sticking stickers of my dog, Grandpa, because really I see them everywhere and they make me smile.
They do.
But this idea of putting stickers out, it's it comes full circle. And so this is what I'm going to explore and conversate with in this next zine, and how your motivations and intent really kind of dictate the angle and the kind of genre. But you go back to World War I, when you had Kilroy Was Here. Kind of
we talked about that the other day. This was, yes.
I find those kind of things, it's human nature. The diamond S, that cool S that everyone drew on their notebook in high school. I mean, who didn't draw bubble letters? It's all kind of in that same fashion. Symbolic registration that, really resonates with artists and well, not just artists, but just humans, and how we can recognize it. Myself being branded with my logo. I've had my 3-handled wheelbarrow for over 20 years now. I'm stuck with it. So better get used to that nickname. Those stickers though, it's everywhere you go, you find stickers. And whether it's the company trying to get some instant brand loyalty, or it's those vandals marking them on the eggshells that you can't peel off to save your life. This kind of application and this whole, I don't know, I find it fascinating. And it started to pay, and as I think about it, it started to pave out the reason why I archive these walls and why I talk about this stuff endlessly. It's pretty dope.
Oh, it definitely is dope. Well, Ryan, this is the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for that conversation.
I'll just keep on talking.
Well, go right ahead.
That's what I look forward to doing. Find me online at Ryan Wheelbarrow. Google it, urbanarteducation.com.
All right. Well, you said it better than anyone else could say it.
Mural zine. I got a lot of different.
Mural zine.
I mean, just Ryan Wheelbarrow leads you to all the avenues of my life. And yeah.
This is
my favorite website by far is gograndpago.com.
Gograndpago.com. All right. So that's the latest one.
GRAMPAW. Grandpa.
Oh, okay. So that's
intended.
All right. Yes.
So, Pascal, I appreciate being on this. Much love, my friend.
Well, you're very, very welcome, Ryan. I mean, this is, we've known each other for quite some time. So this is something we have to share because you are writing the narrative of Wynwood. You are sharing it with the people and you're sharing it with the passion that no one else has. Really, this is something you are giving 100% when you take all these people. We're lucky visiting Wynwood and Miami, and you give them a piece of Miami for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, my friend. I look forward to joining you on the next one, and I'll see you on the flip side, brother.
Well. We'll see you sure very, very soon. Well, folks, this is it for today. Thank you so much again for listening. Follow us on the social media. Don't forget to follow Ryan the Wheelbarrow. He gave you all the information you needed and more. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.